On the news, APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu throws jab at Atiku over comment on Northern presidency. Presidential candidate of Labour Party Peter Obi meets with popular Islamic cleric Ahmed Gumi at his residence in Kaduna State. And Nigeria's September inflation rises to 20.77% amid high import costs soaring food prices. Glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Mary Kanu. The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, has chastised his PDP counterpart Atiku Abubakar over his comment on the need of a president who hails from the north. Tinubu made the comment on Monday when he met with leaders from the northern part of the country under the umbrella of Arewa Joint Committee for an interactive session. The meeting was part of a wider interaction with selected presidential candidates to discuss their plans for the region ahead of the 2023 general elections. The presidential aspirant also spoke on some of his plans to bring an end to insecurity as well as improve the nation's economy.
If you started your campaign from Uyo and you come before this audience and you say you are the only governor, you've lost the election. Security is the foundation of resources. I am committed to mobilizing all assets within our national power to secure Nigeria. We did this in Lagos through many initiatives, especially the Security Trust Fund. Though we address many needs of our country, the forces which have to sanitize Lagos are in Lagos in conjunction with the federal government. Under my leadership, the Nigerian military will receive much needed injection of training personnel to strengthen the heroic efforts of the troops, and we will reinforce them with best technological equipment. They are available. We are short in numbers. The ragtag bandits will not defeat us. We will defeat them.
Still in politics, presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has visited popular Islamic cleric Ahmed Gumi at his residence in Kaduna State. Obi, alongside his running mate Dati Baba Ahmed, on Monday attended a conference organized by the Arewa Joint Committee. The controversial Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmed Gumi has been under attack by critics concerning his position on banditry in the country, as he has been seen by many as giving voice to bandits terrorizing northern Nigeria. Obi in recent times has visited northern power brokers and thought leaders, including the Emir of Kano Aminu Ado Bayero and the chairman of Northern Elders Forum Ango Abdullahi. He also visited former heads of state Ibrahim Babangida and Abdusalami Abubakar. Also speak more on this, political affairs analyst Charles Ideho joins me now. Thank you very much for joining me on the news. Now, if you can hear me, it appears that political players in the nation's 2023 elections are not leaving anything to chance, as we've seen Labour Party presidential candidate visit the popular Islamic cleric Ahmed Gumi, who some have termed as controversial following the arrest of his media consultant and ally Tuku Mamu. Now, what do you make of this?
Okay, Mary, thank you for having me. But you see, the thing is that when you look at politics, apart from being a journalist, a political journalist, I am also a politician. I am also a politician in training. I'm undergoing training in politics as we speak, so that for me to understand the psychology of the politician, the way they think and all that. So if you look at all these things, politicians do not moralize at all. They don't moralize. Everything that is central to the heart of the average politician, not only Nigerian politicians, but winning. And how do they win if they don't get the numbers? All right, so that's why I say if a politician wants to start thinking about moralizing whatever action they have, they often are left in the lurch. So Obi going all the way to Kaduna, although he said he just had a stopover, and then he saw he had to look at a way of maybe building bridges. Also, don't forget that Obi is having what I might call a hard task for him before him. What I'm saying is that even if by providence Obi is able to win the 17,000 states, it still needs a minimum of 7 states up north for him to make the constitutionally prescribed 25% in about 24 states across the country for him to be declared president. So where does he get the number? Where does he get the 25% in about 24 states if he doesn't build bridges across the length and breadth of this country? So if he thinks that Gumi has followers that he can have best from, well, so be it. So that's I said, politicians are always looking for what they will use, to increase the number of their votes and also increase their chances. So Obi is not supposed to be somebody out of this equation. So Obi is looking at it. He knows that he is quite popular among the youth in the south. But what about the north? He needs to have that kind of inroad into the northern part of Nigeria so that that victory pendulum, as he wants it, can swing his way in 2023, Mary.
Well, a political affairs analyst, Charles Sideho, thank you very much for your time and contribution. And moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration has delivered remarkable projects across the country. The president said this at his last ministerial performance review retreat organized to evaluate the progress made in the implementation of his administration's 9-priority agenda. Speaking at the event on Monday, Buhari highlighted the progress his administration has made in the areas of infrastructure, agriculture, economy, and health. He said his administration has successfully constructed over 3,800 kilometers of roads across the country.
In recognition of the importance of critical infrastructure in economic development and the quest of this administration to leave a lasting legacy, we have implemented high-impact projects across the length and breadth of the country that meet the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians. Some of the notable achievements include the completion of 326 kilometers Itape, Ajakuta, Warri rail line, and railway ancillary facilities. The completion of over 150 kilometers Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge railway modernization project with extension to Lagos, Port Harcourt, Port, and Apapa. On the economy, we have witnessed 7 consecutive quarters of growth after negative growth rates recorded in the second and third quarters of 2020. The GDP grew by 3.54% year-on-year in real terms in the second quarter of 2022. The power sector has remained critical priority to the administration. The implementation of a willing buyer, willing seller policy introduced by this administration has opened up opportunities for increased delivery of electricity to underserved homes and industries. The Nigerian Air Force has acquired 38 brand new aircraft and is expecting another batch of 36 new ones, while the Nigerian Navy has been equipped with new platforms, sophisticated riverine, rigid hull, inflammable seaward defense, whaler, and fast attack boats, as well as helicopters and capital ships.
And after 8 long months, public universities in Nigeria are now back in operation. This comes after an agreement brokered by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, and an appeal court order asking the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, to immediately resume academic activities. ASU ended its months-long strike in October. But how does this impact the current academic climate in the country, and what is next for Nigerian universities? Our correspondent Abisola Adebayo tells us more in this next report.
The prestigious University of Lagos in Akoka Yaba, after 8 long months of shutdown, the gates are now finally reopened to the students. The 8-month shutdown was the result of a back and forth between Umbrella University Union, the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU, and the federal government, owing to several issues, including the revitalization of public universities, among others. The strike, which began on February 14, ended exactly 8 months after, on October 14, majorly due to the intervention of the House of Representatives led by the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, after several meetings with the union. The chairman of the ASU Unilag chapter, Dele Ashiru, commends the intervention of the lawmakers while also remaining hopeful that the government will keep its own side of the bargain.
They should just prioritize education, because no society can live above its level of education. And if you look at societies that are making progress today, go and look at investment in education all over the world. So Nigeria, the political elites in Nigeria should prioritize education and give it the pride of place, in the scheme of things.
The 8 months lull also had an obvious effect on all parties involved in the running of Nigerian universities. For the lecturers, they admit they are feeling the financial impact of the decision by the federal government to withhold their salaries during the long strike action. Some admit that they are not fully supportive of the long strike action, but insist that the demands are necessary.
No lecturer is happy being at home. This is our job. You understand? We love doing our job. I feel happy to have resumed. Now that we have resumed, our strike ended in the Nigerian system. No. What will make strike to come to an end in the Nigerian educational system is what ASU is asking for: proper funding of the system.
A lot of us struggle to be here today. Don't forget, we've not been paid for 8 months till now. Then again, union is a law-abiding one. We are here, and then we'll await the instruction from management. So far, so good. We'll get things working.
For the students, the impact of the long strike on the academic session cannot be overemphasized. 8 months in a school session is equal to 2 semesters, which is a year-long academic session, which is exactly what the students have now lost. The suspension comes as a respite for students who have waited so long to return to the classrooms, but for some, the optimism is not without worry.
It has been a bad experience staying at home for a good 8 months without doing anything academics. So I'm really excited that I'll be back to school. My only fear right now is just the time, because we have nothing less than a month or so, not up to 2 months, for us to finish this semester. There's no time to practice more.
I'm actually happy that we're resuming. That's one step closer to graduating. What I'm bothered about is coming back to that student phase. It's been quite a while. So coming back to that, reading classes, then remembering tests, exams. It's when you remember that your chest will be doom doom doom, but I know we'll switch. It's just a matter of time. Would flow.
Since February, this popular Moremi Hall Garden in the University of Lagos has been deserted, thanks to the suspension of academic activities in Nigerian public universities due to the ASU strike action. 8 months after, the strike has finally been called off. The millions of youths affected by the face-off between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, are gradually returning back to school. But with the suspension of the strike action tagged conditional, these students can only hope and pray that they stay in school longer this time. The business owners in the university environment might be the biggest winners in the suspension of the strike action. For so long, their businesses have also been on hold. Now, they say they are looking forward to full resumption after a tough few months. Abisola Adebayo, TV360 News.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talon, has picked holes in the judgment of a federal high court which nullified the All Progressives Congress 2023 governorship elections primary in Adamawa State. The minister described the ruling that sacked Aishatu Binani, the only female governorship candidate in Adamawa, as a kangaroo judgment that should be rejected by well-meaning Nigerians. The minister said the court ruling showed the continued marginalization of women in politics in Nigeria. The former EFCC boss Nuhu Ribadu had approached the Federal High Court in Yola alleging irregularities in the conduct of the primary.
The only governorship candidate we have, the court is declaring that the party has no candidate. This is unacceptable. It's like a kangaroo judgment, but we will not give up. We are resilient and we are fully behind her. We will stand tall and strong to support any woman that has gone that far to occupy a seat that will bring meaningful development in our dear country, Nigeria. When I say meaningful development, check is on record. All our female senators, all our female members of House of Reps, all our female members in the House of Assembly, what they do, none of their male counterparts are doing it. Because a woman is a mother. She has to feel it. And when given the chance, she makes a difference in her community.
Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, Nigeria's Flamingos beat Chile, qualify for the quarterfinal. Details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now a recap of some of our top stories tonight. The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, has chastised his PDP counterpart Atiku Abubakar over his comment on the need of a president who hails from the north. Tinubu at the Arewa Joint Committee for an interactive session on Monday also spoke on some of his plans to bring an end to insecurity as well as improve the nation's economy. We also told you that the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, has visited popular Islamic cleric Ahmed Gumi at his residence in Kaduna State. The controversial Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmed Gumi has been under attack by critics concerning his position on banditry in the country, as he has been seen by many as giving voice to bandits terrorizing northern Nigeria. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. And now to COVID-19 updates. Contractors that supplied COVID-19 medical equipment and items to the Federal Capital Territory Administration have taken over major streets in protest against the partial payment of money allegedly owed them for 3 years. The protesters blocked the entrance gate of the Minister of the FCT, causing gridlock and preventing vehicles from accessing the Secretariat. The protesters, who held several banners and placards, called on the Minister Mohammed ordered Musa Bello to take action concerning their demands over phones owed them since 2019.
We are one of the suppliers of COVID PPE. During the COVID period, we all came out, did our supplies. We were told 2 weeks for payments. If you see behind me, you see a lot of people and more people are still coming. These are staffs, these are contractors who actually did this job. And it will interest you to know that it's going to be exactly 3 years by next year, March.
March next year will make it exactly 3 years since we supplied all medical suppliables to FCTA to help them fight COVID-19. From the award letter given to us, it is stated there for 2 weeks from the day of supply, you will get your payment. Maximum of 2 weeks. This is almost 3 years. We have not received our payment from FCTA government. So that is what we are here to let the world know. That we are suffering and that we have not been able to pay our staffs. If you look behind, you will see some of our staffs here. We've not been able to pay them. Hunger is dealing with us. So please, we are appealing to the government, FCTA government, to please pay us.
We'll take another break and return with business, international and sports stories. Just stay with us. Welcome back. Abisola Adebayo now joins us with the latest business updates. Abisola, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mary. Welcome to Business News. Nigeria's inflation rate has risen to 20.77% in September 2022, up from 20.52% in the previous month. The National Bureau of Statistics made this known on Monday in its Consumer Price Index report for September 2022. The NBS explained that the accelerating inflation rate is likely caused by soaring food prices, disruption in the supply of food products, rise in import costs due to the persistent currency depreciation, and general increase in the cost of production. Meanwhile, experts say the country's economic managers have failed to reduce the inflation spike. In an earlier interview with TV360 Nigeria, economic expert Gospel Obele added that with the current hike in the price of commodities, Nigerians will remain trapped in poverty even if they earn more.
It's quite unfortunate that the same factors are responsible on a month-on-month. It shows that our economic management capabilities or ability as a nation is really, really failing to deliver on reduced inflation numbers. Not just inflation numbers in the sense, the pressure points or the points through which inflation permeates into the economy are core basic necessity pressure point or permission point. You talk about food, you talk about shelter, you talk about transportation, you talk about healthcare, you talk about education. These are the subsectors that are impacted the most. So if price of food, goes up, what's the hope for the average Nigerian or the common man? These are the big questions that create the poverty trap in the first place. So I think that Nigeria has to outgrow these flimsy excuses, in all sense of immunity. They are flimsy because this has always been the challenge for our 5 years going down the line. And for any international nation seeking to scale its impact, build its shocks, and protect its consumers or its people, they're trying to grow into wealth. So even if you are creating opportunities for more prosperity, the fact that your inflationary numbers are not helping, it means that the people will be trapped. Even if they earn more income, they will be trapped, they'll be trapped trying to get by the basic necessities, and as a result, they will remain poor. I don't even get what I'm trying to say. So it doesn't necessarily mean people are not earning more. It means that the cost centers in the daily lives of people are keeping them poor.
Well, we'll take a break now and return with a review of the stock market. Nigeria's stock market witnessed a remarkable sell-off today as investors who are already in bearish mood reacted further to the inflation rate that surged for 8 straight months. At the close of trading on Monday, the all-share index declined by 2.53% to close at 46,365 basis points. Market capitalization in the same vein also lost 655 billion naira as it closed at 25.2 trillion naira at the end of trading. The decrease in the market was driven majorly by stocks like Airtel Africa, will led the losers counter. Its share price dropped from a high 1,800 naira to 1,620 naira, losing 180 naira during trading. That's even after acquiring spectrum in Tanzania and Zambia just a few days ago. Well, it was followed closely by Sovereign Needs Trust Insurance PLC, which recorded a 2 kobo loss at the close of trading. On the flip side, as our gainers list for today, PZ and University Press PLC led the gainers counter as it recorded a combined 94 kobo increase. Our market summary, however, sees a total of 137 million units of shares valued at 4.3 billion naira exchanging hands in 3,234 deals. You know, the market is largely still bearish as the investors continue to be careful due to inherent macroeconomic risk, but it's still early to predict because you never can tell with the stock markets. Moving on to the foreign scene, the FTSE, the Dow Jones and the Nikkei. London shares rose on Monday as new Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt reversed Prime Minister Liz Truss's economic plan announced 3 weeks ago that slammed UK markets and dented investor sentiment. That's why it's in the positive today. The Dow Jones on its part also jumped on Monday as Bank of America led a rally among lenders after reporting a smaller than expected drop in profits, with new loans benefiting from higher borrowing costs. It's also in the positive today. Japan stocks Nikkei unfortunately could not manage to keep its head above water as it recorded a 1.16% decline at the close of trading on Monday. That's all on Stock Market Report. Back to Mary for the rest of the news.
Well, many thanks for the update, Abisola. Moving on out of the global scene, 4 persons have been confirmed dead following Russia's attack on Kyiv and other cities with a wave of explosive drones with blasts rocking the Ukrainian capital. Dozens have been helped to safety by emergency services. A search and rescue operation looking for people trapped in the rubble continues in the capital. However, the strikes have not been confined to Kyiv, with President Volodymyr Zelensky saying that Russia had launched drone and missile attacks all night and all morning to terrorize civilians around the country. Well, it's time for Entertainment Report.
The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has reportedly intervened in the ongoing crisis plaguing the Nigerian Oscar Selection Committee with the offer to reconvene for a re-vote. According to committee member Shuaibu Hussaini, the Academy had granted the NOSC an extension for a final determination by the members. In recent weeks, the Nigerian Oscar Selection Committee has been rocked by internal crisis over its announcement in September that no film qualified for the 2023 Oscars International Feature Film category submission. Kiss Daniel's desire to perform at the opening ceremony of the FIFA World Cup in Qatar will become a reality. After a successful Afro Classic tour of the UK, US, Canada and select African countries, Kiss Daniel is set to take Buga to the biggest event in football history. The singer broke the news on his official Twitter account, where he revealed that he will be performing his hit track at the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, which will hold from Sunday 20th November to Sunday 18th December 2022. Kiss Daniel has enjoyed a successful 2022 with his single Buga becoming one of the biggest tracks out of the African continent. Well, that's it on the entertainment segment of News Now.
And now in sports, Nigeria's Flamingos on Monday beat Chile 2-1 to qualify for the quarterfinal of the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. Nigeria needed only a draw to qualify for the next stage and won by delivering another impressive performance after the 4-0 win against New Zealand on Friday. With the win, Nigeria finished as Group B runners-up with 6 points and will either face Brazil or the US in the next stage of the competition, which will take place in India. And that's the size of a news bulletin this evening. Many thanks for watching. I am Mary Kanu. Bye for now.